You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
The dispute with the sheriff was that his voice wasn't being heard over at the school district. At a time in which the sheriff and I should be having direct conversations, Mr. Robinson was there really kind of stirring things up.
Todd Bowden talking school security, education, and his relationship with the sheriff and school board. What does his future hold? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC7 at 7, our exclusive interview with Todd Bowden in a moment. But first, our top stories at 7. We did a whole hour on it last week. Red tide continues to lay waste to fish and other sea life and is littering our usually pristine beaches with dead fish and a strong odor, making it difficult to breathe. One of the beaches seeing the worst of it today is Siesta Beach. All types of fish, including eels, washing up on shore. FWC is reporting high levels of red tide at many beaches throughout the Suncoast.
You realize how devastating something like red tide can be. I mean, sometimes as vacationers, we think of just the inconvenience, but I'm looking again at the marine life aspect of it and just seeing all the fish and all the different types. And it's sad, you know, it really is.
Sarasota County says workers will pick up the dead fish, and if need be, machinery will be brought in to help. Dead marine life isn't happening just here on the Suncoast, but throughout Florida. The deaths of sea turtles, manatees, fish, and other animals are skyrocketing, especially in southwest Florida. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, nearly 300 sea turtles have died since red tide algae bloom started late last year between Sarasota and Collier counties.
We're seeing more than double the number of animals being impacted at this time of the year from the red tide, and we're seeing large loggerhead sea turtles being affected. And that's because this red tide has lasted into the nesting season.
There have already been at least 490 manatee deaths this year as well, with 80 of them likely caused by red tide. There were only 379 sea cow deaths in all of 2017. And just to the south of Sarasota County, a paralyzed manatee was found stuck on a sandbar in Lemon Bay due to red tide. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office found the manatee and called the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission to help rescue the marine mammal. Deputies say the manatee is now safe and is headed to SeaWorld in Orlando for treatment. And help is on the way from the federal government. Governor Rick Scott announcing the Department of Environmental Protection and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers have reached an agreement to fund repairs to the Herbert Hoover Dike in Central Florida. Experts say this will fix the overflow of algae blooms from Lake Okeechobee and stop red tide. According to Governor Scott, $50 million will be allocated to fix the dike. New details tonight in a case involving a Sarasota man accused of shooting and killing a Fort Myers police officer. Wisner Desmaret is in custody in Fort Myers. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has filed a detainer on Desmaret, who is a citizen of Haiti. ICE can then take custody if and when he is released from local custody. Police say Desmaret shot Officer Adam Jobbers Miller at a Fort Myers gas station on July 21st. The officer died on Saturday. The Broward County School District is suspending its investigation into the Parkland school shooting, saying it conflicts with a state inquiry. Stoneman Douglas staff members are about to be interviewed by the state commission, so the district says it didn't want to subject them to a second round of questioning last week. Broward County hired a retired Secret Service officer to do an internal investigation about staff performance before and after the shooting. An error by the Florida Department of Revenue sent sales taxes collected at University Town Center Mall stores to the wrong county. While the mall is in Sarasota County, millions of dollars in sales taxes were sent mistakenly to Manatee County the past 3 to 4 years. The mistake could end up costing Manatee County more than $4 million. Now, a busy intersection in Sarasota County is closed right now because of a gas leak. Let's take a look at the traffic around the leak. Traffic appears to be at a standstill at the intersection of Fruitville. The leak is located at Fruitville Road and Honore. According to Sarasota County Fire Rescue, the gas leak started when the construction crew hit the line. The roadways are blocked off in both directions. No evacuations and no injuries are being reported. So avoid the area while crews attempt to make repairs, and we'll have more on this story coming up tonight at 11. Now let's head over to meteorologist Steve Newman with the First Alert forecast. Steve.
Alan, you got a choice of the bright, blazing midsummer sun and hot weather, or you have the clouds and the humidity in the midsummer heat. That's what we've got right now. Lots of clouds, scattered hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. And boy, if you're in DeSoto and Hardee County, you got hit in Highlands as well earlier today. We'll have a chance of evening storms along the coast, but really no big changes in our weather pattern as we move into the weekend. Temperatures staying pretty close to normal. And current temperatures across the state, it's 87 in Tampa. Fort Myers, a little rain cooling with 79 there. Naples, 84. Miami, 84 as well. Across our viewing area along the beach, temperatures in the mid-80s. Still warming back up from the cooling they had from the storms in Arcadia and Awachula, 80 at Sebring right now. You can clearly see the flow coming in from the south with all that moisture bringing in the clouds. And if we take a look at radar, this is the cluster of storms that came right over Arcadia and the rest of DeSoto County, a good portion of DeSoto County into Hardee, about 4 or 5 o'clock. It's now gone. And while we're not seeing anything on radar, the future radar has a good handle on that storm complex, but right after one, it's predicting something this evening to emerge right along the coast. And it's done it so many times, I'm believing maybe it will happen. I'm throwing a 40 to 50% chance we'll see some thunderstorms come at us this evening hours with the light southeasterly winds. If you're heading out on the town tonight, we'll have some evening thunderstorms possible right until midnight, and then things start to dry out in the small hours. And tomorrow we fire it up again. I'll tell you about the complete forecast not only for tomorrow and the weekend, but a look at the tropics coming up a little bit later. Now back to you, Alan.
Thanks, Steve. It has been one wild ride for Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden, and that was before the Parkland massacre. But the response to the mass shooting in South Florida opened even deeper divisions between the superintendent and school board and the sheriff. Recently, he had his annual performance review, and Rick Adams was there.
At times, Dr. Todd Bowden's one-year performance evaluation was intense and critical at the hands of some Sarasota County school board members.
People have concerns, and I think that they should be, nothing else listened to.
One of the key issues questioned was Bowden's handling of the district's response to enhancing school security following the Parkland tragedy. But in the end, the superintendent survived the heat, getting a 3 rating out of 5 from school board members, placing him in the effective category.
I'm growing every day, and I think today's reflection, today's evaluation was reflective of that, is that we're headed in the right direction, but certainly there's progress to be made.
Some of the main areas discussed and approved was Bowden's salary for the upcoming school year, going from $190,000 to $197,000. Also approved was eliminating a clause in his contract which could have fired him without cause. Board members agreed to extend his contract from 2020 to 2022.
It's nice to know that you can think not only about today and this year, but you can plan for the future.
Board Chair Bridget Ziegler says this performance evaluation for the superintendent is vital.
We need to take it seriously, no matter whether there was a lot of back and forth or a chaotic couple of months prior to or not. It's our one opportunity to discuss as a board where we have been and where we're going, and the leadership that's brought us there or hasn't achieved the goals that we wanted.
Despite the mixed evaluation from school board members, Bowden is looking forward to continuing to work closely with them.
I don't think anything today was done out of malice or meanness or spite. It's a true reflection of their perspective, and so I think it's indicative of we've got some work to do.
Todd Bowden at the Trapezoid. Next.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
We're going to have our exclusive interview with Todd Bowden in a moment, but first, a busy intersection in Sarasota County is closed right now because of a gas leak. ABC7's Rick Adams is live in Sarasota with more. Rick?
Yeah, Alan, good evening. We're just looking to get an update on the situation here with this gas leak and the shutdown of Fruitville Road. I'm now joined by Chief Michael Regnier. He is with the Sarasota County Fire Department. And Chief, thanks for coming on.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about exactly what happened back there.
Yeah, we received a 911 call for an emergency hazardous materials incident. Apparently some contractors struck a underground line, a main line for natural gas that goes east and west and north and south at Fruitville and Honor Avenue. And they were doing some tunneling and inadvertently struck that line, which caused the gas to accumulate in some of the stormwater drains. And normally gas is lighter than air, however, it was pocketing there, and that's why we want to keep everybody safe and back.
Okay, so nobody's in danger, no evacuations or anything like that?
Correct. Anybody that was evacuated has been allowed to go back into the area. Like I said, we're just concerned more so with the accumulation in the stormwater drains and taking care of that issue, and also working with the contractors that are on site.
And obviously Fruitville Road here is a very busy road heading towards 75 and heading towards downtown Sarasota the other way. How much longer do you anticipate this road being shut down?
Hopefully about 30 to 45 more minutes. That's what our contractors are telling us. However, we always ask for patience for the travelers that are going on right now. Law enforcement, the Sheriff's Office has been doing a great job trying to keep the traffic moving. However, we do ask for patience.
Okay, and best bit of advice for folks driving in this area?
Absolutely. Just stay away from the area as much as possible, but also use caution in the area. There's a lot of vehicles, a lot of people trying to get home after an end of the day, so we just want to ask everybody to have patience.
Okay, Chief, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know you're busy back there, so we'll let you get back to work.
Absolutely.
And that's Chief Michael Regnier of the Sarasota County Fire Department. And again, Fruitville Road shut down in both directions, heading towards downtown Sarasota as well as heading towards I-75. So make other provisions, shut down for another half hour to 45 minutes at least. And that's the latest here. Reporting live from Sarasota, I'm Rick Adams. Back to you.
Welcome back. It has been an interesting ride for Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. From the get-go, the superintendent was dogged by accusations of harassment by 3 women working for the school district. An investigation found the allegations unfounded, although 1 woman is now suing. The superintendent has had a challenging relationship with the Teachers Association and more challenging relationship with Sheriff Tom Knight. A rough go-around with the school board during his performance review. And on the other hand, there is no arguing with the results. The school district is maintaining its A rating as one of the best school districts in the entire state, and that means a lot. And joining us for more is Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. Superintendent, welcome.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Well, let's start with the good news, because the A rating, that is something, given the environment, given the the resources and the lack of resources from the state. What do you think that A rating means?
It means that we've continued a tradition of excellence. I had a clear understanding when I assumed the job of superintendent that that was an expectation placed upon us. In other districts, they are working towards an A. Anything less than an A would be unacceptable here in Sarasota. And so when there was a transition in leadership, certainly there was questions about, are we going to continue on this track? Are we going to take a step forward? Are we going to move forward? And so what I'm excited about is not only have we maintained our A, but we're on an upward trajectory. We added 4 points to our score. We've closed the gap on the highest performing district in the state. We've got them in our sights, and we're shooting for #1.
We're going to talk about the other issues in a few minutes, but given the A rating, do you sometimes wonder, hey, listen, we're doing a good job here, we're getting the results, our kids are getting the results, but everything else is what, a distraction? Or did you expect all the other stuff is it noise to you, or is it stuff that you take seriously?
Well, I think you have to have an ear on. You cannot run a public school district without the support of your community. And so, as proud as we are of that A, there's still work to be done. And so what we can't allow is the A to serve as cover and to say we're an A-rated district, everything's fine, there's no problems to be addressed. That's how you lose the A, quite honestly, is that you just say the things we're doing must be working, let's not touch it. And so my challenge has been, from the start, is to figure out the things that are working, that are effective, and to leave them in place. To find the things that can be improved upon and improve them, and find the things that are ineffective and do away with those practices. And that's harder to do, quite frankly, in an A-rated district than it is in other places, because everything that you do, someone will attribute that to, well, the reason that we got the A is because of that practice.
Are you kind of surprised by the number of different constituencies out there that has made it seems like the school system and the public, we're not presenting a united front?
I think that's absolutely true, and I think it's symptomatic of public education across the state right now, is that we're in an interesting time in our history. There are those that want to profit from public education, and to do so, they have to diminish the role of public education to get there. And so we have a high-performing district here in Sarasota, but yes, there are those that want to detract from our success.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. Our conversation with Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden will continue right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Newman. Steve.
Hi, Alan. It is a warm, humid, sultry evening across the Suncoast. 86 at the airport. Dew point is 76. That is pretty sultry. Humidity 72% with that southwesterly wind. Current heat index, it's been as warm as 100 a couple hours ago in Sarasota, even warmer than that, about 104 in Sebring a couple hours ago as well. But they had some rain cooling from a cluster of thunderstorms that came up from the south, from the Everglades, and that cluster has now moved on by. We can see it on radar right over DeSoto and Hardy County and up into Polk County. Now it's all gone. And while we're not seeing anything out here off the coast, there's a chance we'll see some thunderstorms this evening. A quick look at the tropics. Nothing's going on. We would expect it in July and early August to be very quiet. We have a lot of dust blowing off the Sahara, suppressing any formation in the Atlantic. Also, the Bermuda High is very strong, so the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico are also very calm at this point. And only one lone tropical storm, and that's Hector out in the Pacific. They've had a quiet hurricane season so far as well, for the most part. Here's the Futurecast takes us through tonight, tomorrow, and into Friday. We can see scattered showers and thunderstorms off and on, as we expect this time of year. If anything, I think the winds may be shifting more to a southeasterly direction as we move into the weekend. That would give us more sunshine during the day, allow the coastal sea breeze to come in and fire up thunderstorms, getting us late in the afternoon. That's the only big change I see in the next couple of days. Here's your 7-day forecast, and it shows that we'll have a 60 to 50% chance of showers and thunder showers right on into the weekend, with temperatures hovering pretty close to seasonal normal, which is 90 degrees, maybe a little bit warmer as we move into the weekend, but right on the money for low temperatures, which is 75, the average for this time of year. Early next week, we could have mostly sunny skies on Monday with a 30% chance of showers, and then back to a more typical pattern as we move into the mid part of next week. Alan will be back with more news right after this.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Me, pick me. Oh, come on, man. Oh, man, I love technology. Hey, yo, check out my new phone. Look at this right here. For years, the DeSoto Club has needed improvements. Join me and Boys and Girls Club of Manatee County as we raise money to build a brand new facility. It will be bigger and better, just like it was 40 years ago when I attended. Invest in kids, build great futures.
It's been about a month, and I can honestly say I've seen the change in me. I went from being a depressed girl who didn't want help to this happy, caring girl who loves helping other people. I just really hope that people that went through what I went through get the help that they need, because their story is important and they are loved. Thank you so much for everything.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Welcome back. The new school year, a new school security plan, and much more. Joining us for more is Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. So let's begin to talk about the security issue, which really is on everybody's minds after the Parkland massacre here. It seems like the process since the shooting to the first day of school, which is coming up, has been chaotic in terms of the dispute with the sheriff's office, in terms of who pays for what, to the decision to form your own police department. And underlining all of that is your relationship with the sheriff. How did it get so bad?
You know, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on that. My relationship with the sheriff dates back to my time at Suncoast Technical College. We had a great working relationship through the Criminal Justice Academy. He was a supporter of mine as I applied for the superintendent job. As a matter of fact, at his invitation, I joined the board of directors of the Sheriff's Athletic League. And so we had a great relationship, an open line of communication. And then Parkland happened. And I think the tension surrounding Parkland is responsible for that. But I don't think you can ignore the fact that, you know, there's that old saying that says, 2 is company and 3 is a crowd. There was a member of our board who inserted himself into that relationship.
You're talking about Eric Robinson.
Yes, sir. And that fractured that relationship during a very crucial time. And I don't think you could ignore that fact.
Well, let's take this piece by piece. Was the beginning of the dispute with the sheriff over who pays for what?
No, I think the beginning of the dispute with the sheriff was that his voice wasn't being heard over at the school district. Is that as we were assessing our options, looking at, you know, the best way to react, to looking at compliance with the new law, is that we didn't seek his advice and counsel early enough and regularly enough.
Was that a mistake?
In hindsight, certainly. You know, I would agree that we should have reached out earlier and more frequently, not just to the sheriff, but to our chiefs of police. But you have to understand, as a district, we were really reeling in the aftermath of Parkland. It wasn't just how are we going to respond to that, but we had a rash of social media complaints. It was on a daily basis that we were reacting, and so we were certainly in that reactionary mode at that time.
Well, the essential part of the state legislation and the goal is to put a SRO in every school, and the sheriff's point, as he is expresses, he did not have the manpower for it. So someone was going to have to hire more people to do that and pay for it. Was that really the nexus of where the friction was?
Well, I think the nexus of the friction, to use your term, is that we understood that we had a problem. We have 39 schools in Sarasota County. We had 21 schools that didn't have a school resource officer. And so as we were putting plans in place and exploring our option about what are we going to do about these 21 schools, we assumed that our agreements would stay in place in our middle and high school. And so that was really the curveball that got thrown, is that we were saying, how do we move into elementary schools and how do we pay for it? But then kind of in the middle of negotiations, oh, by the way, we're going to ask that you assume the full cost of the middle and high schools too. So it took a bad problem and made it worse.
Okay. There is lots more to talk about on this particular subject, but we do have to take a quick break. We're just getting warmed up. Our conversation with Sarasota Superintendent Todd Bowden will continue after a quick break.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, These doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
A Suncoast designer is turning old trash into new fashion. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. We'll meet the creator of Trash Swag. Then we see the health benefits that mushrooms can bring. Mr. Fun Guy brings us Fun Guy. Get it? Plus, all parents think their kid is cute, but wait till you see this 3-year-old made famous by Publix. And Chef Judy picks the best Cuban sandwiches on the Suncoast.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. The new school year, a new school security plan, and much more. Joining us is Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. So we were talking about how the relationship with the sheriff went wrong in the days after Parkland. You talked about the contribution of Eric Robertson, the school board member, to that problem. How did Mr. Robinson hurt your relationship with the sheriff?
At a time in which the sheriff and I should be having direct conversations, Mr. Robinson was there really kind of stirring things up. I would have
In what way?
I'd have conversations with the sheriff, conversations that I think were very productive, and then I'd get a phone call from Eric and say, you know, the sheriff said this or the sheriff said that, and I'd say, you know, Eric, you know, I talked to the sheriff today. I trust that what he said to me represents his opinion. And so it was kind of running as this go-between. I think a lot of the confusion was because the messages being carried back and forth were not consistent.
And I would imagine the text messages were not helpful.
Shocking.
Did you ever go to the sheriff and said, you know, Tom, we've always gotten along. How did we get here? How could we fix this?
You know, the sheriff and I have not had the chance to really sit down and repair that relationship.
Why not?
The fact of the matter is, at this point, he would prefer to work through the board chair. He does not recognize the superintendent as the CEO of the organization. And so at this point, all of our efforts are on standing up our police department. I'm excited that a relationship is developing between our chief of police and the sheriff. I think there's a mutual respect there that they're both lawmen, and so right now we're letting that be the relationship that carries the day. But certainly I hope that there's a point in time in which the sheriff and I can sit down and figure out a way to kind of put the past in the past and do the right thing.
Because even if you have your own police department, you still have to have a rapport with the chief law enforcement officer in the county, and I know there's a lot of water under the bridge there. But when you look at what happened here, what mistakes, if any, did you make?
You know, I go back to, you know, the frequency and not bringing the sheriff to the table. I was having conversations with the sheriff. We did bring him into an executive session with the board as a whole, but I think he wanted a seat at that table earlier on. And so, you know, the other thing is, you know, the sheriff gives advice, but, you know, the board is sovereign in its decision making. And so, you know, there was a point in time where, you know, the sheriff gave some advice, and the board said, thank you, I think we're going to go in a different direction. And so certainly that's part of it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your relationship with the school board. You just had your performance review recently. It did not go all that well. There was even some discussion about changing the provisions in your contract in terms of termination. What happened with your relationship with the school board that hired you not all that long ago?
So, you know, I think as you look at that evaluation process, it highlighted the divide on our school board. I have a base of support today. I would say that support is tenuous at best. It's a 3-2 majority. But if you look at those evaluations, the majority of the board has found my performance to be effective or higher. There is a minority on the board who's found me to be less than effective. And there really is no middle ground. It's a case in two extremes.
I think in terms of talking to your supporters on the board who to this day support you and defend you, I think the perception is that you have to do a better job in terms of defending yourself because in those candidates, those school board members are up for re-election and they're on the front line in terms of defending the superintendent there. Is your relationship with Bridget Ziegler and Eric Robinson something that can be improved upon at this stage?
I think you have to look at those relationships separately. I spent an hour and a half with Ms. Ziegler yesterday. It was a great conversation, very productive. At this point in time, there's not a lot of conversation with Mr. Robinson. And so do I think that we can get to a point, I have a productive working relationship with Ms. Ziegler? Absolutely yes. With Mr. Robinson, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
If there's anything you would like to say to him right here, right now, what would that be?
You know, at the end of the day, it's about our kids. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. I think what I'm most troubled about when you look at where we are through the lens of a superintendent is that by design, we're supposed to have a nonpartisan board. But there are clearly raw partisan politics at play. And I just think that's wrong.
Also, another difficult relationship has been with the Teachers Association. Is that relationship and rapport solely because of two things in terms of you have to negotiate contracts with them, but also there have been these harassment charges that have been out there. Has that basically short-circuited your relationship with the Teachers Association?
Well, I made a very conscious decision to interact with the teachers union in a different way than my predecessor. And I think part of that is responsible for where we're at today. You know, our prior superintendent met with them on a weekly basis. You know, they had pretty open access at the landings to come and go as they please and talk to various staff. I prefer a model in which we have a point person. We promoted our director of human resources to an executive director position. And what we said is the contact with the union should come with our labor relations specialist. Now, at the same time, what I said was, when you feel like you need to have conversation with the superintendent, my door is open to you. Just pick up the phone and call my secretary.
But has that not been counterproductive from the point of view that look, the teachers union is supporting candidates for the school board who are running against your best supporters on the school board? Why not have an open door all the time in order to maintain that kind of relationship?
That door is open all the time. They've not placed the first phone call saying we'd like time with the superintendent. You know, we talked a little bit about my contract. You know, there's a provision in my contract that says I can be fired at any time. One of the first newsletters that came from the union to its membership was to seize upon that clause. And essentially to them that was a signal that our time is better spent trying to find 3 votes to fire him than to work with him. And so their efforts have been, well, let's just get the guy fired. We don't have to work with him. And so I think the best thing that can happen is for the board to say, listen, you got to work with the superintendent. You know, he is the person that's going to lead this district, and we want you treated with respect, but that's going to be how we're going to operate going forward.
All right. We did mention the harassment allegations. Even when the process of hiring you, that's when we first learned about them. The school district's investigation did not produce any, you know, they said it was unfounded, but now one of the women who is accusing you is filing suit. So I know that you have said that you are eager for this suit to proceed forward, but what do you want every mom and dad and teacher in the Sarasota School District to know about these allegations? Because in this day and age, we take these things more seriously than ever before.
And we should. We absolutely should. And in the era of Me Too, is you should take those accusations extremely seriously. But you should also understand that just because an accusation is made, it doesn't make it true. And so what I can tell you is that I am 100% confident in my conduct at all times, is that I have done nothing that I would be ashamed of. I've done nothing that would be, that I would shame my mother, my wife, my daughter. I'm proud of my actions. You know, I've been married for 18 years, faithfully married for 18 years. And so this process of dealing with these false accusations, when I use the word excited, is if it takes a civil action to finally put this to rest, then let's have a civil action and let's move on.
Has this situation clouded everything else in terms of your other relationships with the board and people outside?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you use the term distraction, and so there's lots of things circulating out there. I'd certainly like to clear the air on this point and move forward.
Okay. We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works, and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398, or visit SoClean.com today.
Time for final thoughts, and joining us is Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. So, Superintendent, it's been a busy time for you ever since you took this job here. There's so many balls in the air in terms of your relationship with the school board, with certain members of the school board, with Sheriff Knight, and with the other allegations that will be going through the court process. How do you continue to do what you're doing when there are these other issues going on here, because every mom and dad would want to know that their school superintendent is focused only on the education of their kids and nothing else.
That is my greatest challenge on a day-to-day basis, is to see through that and remember why we do what we do. There is no one who sits in the chair that I sit in that doesn't realize that public education changes lives. And it's about those 43,000 students. I had someone say to me the other day, just as you govern yourself on a day-to-day basis, remember that there are 43,000 pairs of eyes looking at you. And I think that's a pretty good way to govern yourself.
One more question here. We have a temporary situation where you're going to have the sheriff's office SROs in the school for another year. You're building your police department. When we reconvene at the Trapezoid next year around this time, is this issue going to be settled, that you're going to, the school district is going to be on its own in terms of its police force and not need the sheriff's office in the schools like they are now?
Absolutely. Our course of action is clear. We're moving into the elementary schools this year. We're prepared to go to the middle and high schools the following year. It's a 2-year timeline. The majority of the board has given me my marching orders, and we are executing those orders. Yes, our course of action is clear, that when we arrive for the start of the school year in August of 2019, our internal police force will be on the job.
So next year when we do this interview, you're going to be sitting here with Tom Knight?
I hope so. I hope so. I'm certainly open to that. I'm certainly open to that.
Okay. And if there's anything that you want to say both to the sheriff and to Mr. Robinson right now, what would that be?
You know, I think at the end of the day, it's about our kids. And if we can just return to doing what's best for our kids, and if there's anything that I have contributed, then I'm happy to set my ego aside. You know, we're all men of ego, and just to say, is there a way to hit restart, to let bygones be bygones, and remember that at the end of the day, our job is to, number one, make sure these kids return home to their families at the end of the day, and we hope that we do that and we leave them better off than the way we found them that morning.
All right, Superintendent, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, we want to thank our guest, Sarasota School Superintendent Todd Bowden. When we return, our primetime headlines, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Steve Lee.
Thanks, Alan. I have a hard time saying that word sometimes myself. Well, other than the awful red tide that's just plaguing the Sun Coast, we do have a beautiful evening in progress. A lot of clouds up there, a little muggy, but I think we're going to see maybe some thunderstorms this evening possibly emerge for a brief period of time until midnight. That's about a 40 to 50% chance we'll see that. 86 the current temperature, 76 degrees is the dew point, and that is a sultry reading, believe it or not. 89 the high today, last night's low 75, pretty close to normal, if not right on the money on both counts. Record high 101. It can get hotter than this, as it did back in 1972. Current conditions across our area: 85 at Longboat Key, 86 at Siesta. We had some rain cooling in the interior about 3, 4, 5 o'clock, but it's recovered and warmed back up into the 80s. And as the sun sets over Florida, we can see that strong flow continuing from the southeasterly direction, bringing that moisture from the tropics over the Everglades, and some scattered thunderstorms. Some of them really heavy this afternoon, about 4 o'clock, went right over the heart of DeSoto County with a lot of lightning, then into Hardee County and Polk County. Cooled things off, so they got cooling for a brief period of time, but we didn't along the coast, so it stayed quite sultry. Our weather pattern right now is being controlled by this high, which you may or may not be able to see on the edge of your screen, Bermuda High, sending a ridge over Florida. Its position and strength determines our weather pattern all summer long, and there are only going to be subtle changes in both of those as we move into the next week. High pressure from coast to coast, and it's not terribly hot, not terribly cold anywhere, except in the desert southwest. 124, I believe, at Death Valley today, 108 at Phoenix. That's for the high temperature. Well, here's our future cast as we take a look at the next 2 days, and we can see the garden variety summer thunderstorms popping up from time to time right over the interior tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and more could possibly pass by. All in all, I think we might see a little bit more sunshine during the day in the weekend than we've seen the last couple of days, but that cloud has really filtered the sunshine and made it more tolerable to be out in the midsummer sun. 40% chance of thunder showers or thunderstorms this evening, 75 the low temperature. Winds will be light. That's pretty close to average. And tomorrow, with the chance of thunderstorms increasing to 60% by late in the day, the high will be 90, with the winds turning southwesterly in the afternoon, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And here's our 7-day outlook, showing that we will have pretty much a 50% chance of rain right on through the rest of the week and into the weekend. Things may dry out toward the early part of next week. Depending on what that high pressure does, that Bermuda high, it could channel more of an easterly or southeasterly flow that would give us a more typical pattern with only a 30% chance of afternoon storms and mostly sunny skies. And then we're back to 40 to 50% chance of afternoon showers in the middle of next week. Alan will be back with his primetime headlines right after these important words. Please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
How baby talk can actually build an infant's language skills in HealthSmart.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump is never shy letting everyone know about how he feels about the Russia investigation. Today, he is asking the Justice Department to end the investigation altogether. ABC's Karen Travers has more from the White House.
A new push from President Trump. Today, he said Attorney General Jeff Sessions should shut down the Russia investigation.
President Trump was on a tweet storm Wednesday morning, writing about the Russia probe, Special Counsel Robert Mueller, and his former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, who's currently on trial. But one tweet in that flurry really stood out. The president writing of the Russia investigation, quote, "This is a terrible situation, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt right now." He said before the investigation should be ended, but this seemed to go a step further, and the White House has said tweets from the president are official statements. So was Mr. Trump giving a direct order to the head of the Justice Department?
It's not an order, it's the president's opinion, and it's ridiculous that all of the corruption and dishonesty that's gone on with the launching of the witch hunt, the president has watched this process play out, but he also wants to see it come to an end.
Sessions recused himself from the Russia probe in March of 2017 after facing scrutiny for his own contacts with Russian officials. The president's been very critical of Sessions, slamming him on Twitter, calling him the beleaguered AG, even saying he would have picked someone else to be Attorney General if he had known Sessions would recuse himself. He's made it clear he believes Sessions' decision to step aside is the reason the Russia probe expanded. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein now oversees the investigation, and he appointed Robert Mueller as special counsel.
President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said they've been saying for months that it's time to end the Russia investigation, and President Trump expressed the same opinion. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The federal trial of President Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort continuing for a second day today. It is the first major case to go to trial as the result of the probe into Russian election interference and possible collusion by the Trump campaign. Manafort is charged with 18 counts of tax and banking violations. Prosecutors say he illegally hid millions of dollars to fund his extravagant lifestyle that included items like a $21,000 watch and a $15,000 jacket made from an ostrich. Ohio State football coach Urban Meyer is being placed on paid administrative leave. The school is investigating claims several people close to the head coach knew of a 2015 allegation of domestic violence against one of his assistants, former Ohio State assistant football coach Zach Smith, who was fired in July. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano has been erupting since May 3rd, and now the eruption has set a local record. It's now the longest eruption ever in the Lower East Rift Zone. The previous record was set in 1955. During that eruption, at least 24 different vents opened up along a 9-mile stretch. 24 vents have also opened during the current eruption. Only one vent is active right now. Officials at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory say there is no indication the current eruption will end anytime soon. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.